Greetings everyone, my name is Western11. Recently I went on a trip to Austria, and while I was there I found a bunch of these Fnaf mystery minis that were released for the franchise's 10th anniversary. So I decided to buy a bunch of them. Now I'm personally not a big fan of blind boxes, and I only really tend to buy blind box products if the boxes have some sort of indicator as to which item is inside them. Which is why I collect the Disney Cars mini races, because while they are sold in blind boxes, you can know for sure which car is inside the box thanks to the codes that can be found on them. However, these Funko mystery minis on the other hand don't have a code system of sorts to help identify which figure is inside the box. So if you're trying to get the entire set, then you are guaranteed to be getting a few doubles. Thankfully though, there is a cheat sheet which tells you which boxes have a chance of having which character in them. And there are also no store exclusive characters in this wave, so I had a decent shot at getting all of them. I ended up getting 14 doubles in total, which isn't great, but I mean it could have been a lot worse. Anyways, let's take a look at the 8 minis that I managed to obtain, starting off with Freddy. Now the designs of these new minis is far better compared to the ones that came out in the past, with them no longer having those chibi-like designs, which I am all for. Now Freddy here looks great. They put a lot of work into the mold of this figure, with all of the gaps being present on his limbs. And for the first time ever, Funko didn't give the Fnaf Fun crew an unnecessary trip to the dentist. Thank goodness. But they still gave Freddy's hat a ribbon, which he never had. And they forgot to paint the ridges on his feet. I also love the pose that he is in. Bro looks like he's doing a tour of the pizzeria or some shit. But overall, he's a very nice figure. Also, an odd thing to note is that the figures from this wave aren't able to move their heads, which I presume to be a first for this series. But on my trip I also picked up a few boxes from the special delivery wave, and those figures' heads aren't posable either, so Funko removed the posability of the minis before the redesign. Next we have Bonnie. Bonnie looks nice. They put a lot of work into him, and I'm glad that they made him purple like he was in the first game. I also like that they made sure to give him his bow tie, even if it isn't visible from the front. Although it's weird that he doesn't have his guitar, while the other classics are all holding an accessory related to them. And they gave him freckles, which he never had. And just like Freddy, Bonnie's foot ridges aren't painted, but he's a great figure nonetheless. Next we have Chica. Chica also looks great, with lots of detail molded onto her. She also comes with Mr. Cupcake, who looks a little goofy. The one weird inaccuracy that she has along with Freddy and Bonnie is that their necks are the same color as their costumes, when they should be grey to represent their endoskeletons. It's especially weird because the rest of the figures all have grey necks, and only these three don't have it for some reason. But overall, this is a great figure of Chica. Next we have Foxy. Foxy definitely has the most detail out of the main four, with tons of little dents all around his costume, and all of the holes that reveal his endo are nicely painted in. They even added some wires to his lower legs. But strangely, they decided to make his hand, hook, and lower legs a lighter shade of grey, which doesn't match the color of his endo. Foxy here is also holding the Out of Order sign from Pirate's Cove, which is a new thing for Foxy merch. Overall, this is an amazing figure of Foxy. And the last character that I have from Fnaf 1 is the elusive Golden Freddy. This little guy looks really good. The amount of detail on him is amazing. I love that Funko went out of their way to paint his snout a different color and to make sure that he has his bow tie, which really helps to enhance his appearance. They even painted his endo on the back, which they could have easily left out. Also, his entire suit is covered in dents and tears, which really emphasizes how broken down he is, which is a neat detail considering that he doesn't have this in the game. Also, Freddy, I don't think your end is supposed to
do that.
Or maybe he's a vegetable. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now that I think about it. Freddy's pose isn't accurate to the way he sits in either of the games, since both of his knees should be bent down with his feet on the ground. But honestly, I think I like this pose even more than the one in the games. And just like regular Freddy, Golden Freddy's hat also has an inaccurate ribbon on it, but this is still an amazing mini nonetheless. Now let's move on to the characters from Fnaf 2, those being the withered animatronics. It's about time Funko made some merch of these guys. It only took them like a decade to do so, except for Withered Bonnie, who they seem to have a soft spot for. Anyhow, let's look at Withered Freddy first. Funko did a damn good job of recreating our favorite cross-eyed bear. The withering looks fantastic, with his endo being exposed in many places and wires hanging out his joints. He also has tons of little dents all over his suit. Heck, he even has dents on his hat. And Funko made sure to give him his buttons an upper row of teeth, while also removing his knee pads and ridges on his feet to separate him from classic Freddy. He also appears to be standing in a zombie-like pose. And interestingly enough, Withered Freddy isn't holding his microphone like he does in the game. Though I think that the reason as to why he doesn't have it is to have a contrast between the Withered and classic characters, since none of the Withereds are holding anything, while the classics are all holding something in their hand, except for Bonnie for whatever reason. And the Withered's eyes are fully open, probably to make them look more scary, while the classic's eyes are only half open to make them look more friendly. But they forgot to remove the freckles on his snout, and to make his face slimmer by not having his cheeks poke out. And just like the other Freddys from this wave, Withered Freddy also has a ribbon on his hat.
God dang it, God!
But this is still a fantastic figure nonetheless. Next we have the decrepit Withered Bonnie. He looks great, with the dangling wires on his face, his exposed endo hand and foot, and the exposed wires on his arm and torso, along with the many tears on his legs, though they forgot to add a few on his right foot. And they also gave him his right foot ridge, which he doesn't have in the game. His pose also reminds me of his idol animation in Fnaf Road, which also looks like he's hitting the emote to tell a hobo in the Tesco parking lot to stop asking him for spare change. And just like Withered Freddy, Withered Bonnie also has buttons to differentiate him from classic Bonnie. Though I find the way that they designed his face to be a bit odd, because the endo only appears to be present in the middle of his face, which makes it look like his eyes aren't attached to anything and are just floating in place. There's also another teeny tiny issue that this figure has that might not be obvious at first. They got his color completely wrong! Listen, I get that Withered Bonnie is blue, but this is just ridiculous. The color that Funko gave him really makes him look more like a withered version of Toy Bonnie than anything. But I mean, regular Bonnie was blue in the Fnaf movie, and Withered Bonnie is confirmed to be in the sequel. So maybe this mini will end up resembling the movie design of Withered Bonnie in the future, but only time will tell. He also has a hard time standing up due to the weight distribution in his head. Or he's been drinking his problems away. But overall, this is a great mini regardless of its flaws. Next we have Withered Chica. Withered Chica looks fantastic, with a massive jaw that's held on by metal rods, wires spewing out of her arms, and tears all around her suit. Funko also made sure to remove her eyebrows, and gave her 2 extra toes to differentiate her from classic Chica. The only thing that they forgot to change is to have her feathers droop down. It also looks like she's seen something horrendous unfold before her very eyes. Which makes sense considering that she has seen everything. Let's just hope she hasn't been eating all those magic shrooms. Interestingly, they gave Withered Chica a matte finish, which makes her feel more worn out. But they didn't do that for any of the other Withereds for some reason. And they didn't do it for Foxy or Golden Freddy either. Yet Classic Freddy also has this matte finish even though he isn't withered? Not too sure why they did this, but okay I guess. And by the way, Withered Chica has a pretty big flaw with her design, which you might not notice at first glance. Her upper beak is the same size as on Classic Chica, while her lower beak is much bigger as it should be. If it was like this in game, then she will look something like this. Oh, and they forgot to give her a second row of upper teeth. Guess they mistook her for a Fnaf 1 character. But overall, this is another solid mini. Next up is Withered Foxy. His body has tons of little dents all around, and all of the little holes on his body are completely accurate to the game. They also made his hand and lower legs the same color as his endo, unlike regular Foxy, but his hook is still a lighter shade of grey for some reason. Funko also made sure to change the size of his head, unlike with Withered Freddy. I also like that his eye patch is open, which combined with his pose makes it look like he's ready to jump onto the security guard. Either that or he just saw some
holy godthingas, those are some big melon.
Really, my only issue with this mini is that they didn't change the shape of his snout, since Withered Foxy has a much longer triangle shaped snout compared to regular Foxy. Oh, and they forgot to remove his freckles. Other than that, this is a fantastic mini. Too bad they forgot to paint his upper teeth on my copy, but thankfully I was able to obtain another one which doesn't have this issue. You know what that means. Time to flog it on eBay as a super duper rare unfinished prototype for triple the price to maximize profit. And the last character that I have to review is the puppet, who has got to be the goofiest one out of all the minis in this series, since Funko decided to have her sit inside of the music box. And due to how they molded it, it kinda looks like she's taking a bath in cola.
I'm just gonna put myself in Coke. I'm so cold. Oh! Screw this flipping game!
But I mean, hey, at least she seems to be having a lot of fun while doing so. And she does have all of her details, like her buttons, red cheeks, lipstick, and the stripes on her arms. And the music box itself is also very nicely detailed. Overall, this is a pretty silly little mini, but still pretty neat nonetheless. And those are all the Fnaf mystery minis that I have to show to you all today. Do I recommend getting these? I most certainly do. You really can't go wrong with these minis. These little guys are without doubt the best minis that we have gotten by Funko, period. From their impressive amounts of detail to their fantastic selection of fan favorite characters. Really, my one gripe with this series is in regards to their selection of characters. I would much prefer to either have a regular or withered version of Spring Bonnie or a withered Golden Freddy to be included in this wave to replace the cupcake. Because bro looks absolutely hideous.
For the last time, I don't look nothing like no damn tow truck.
And now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go take a look at what used Fnaf merch is up for sale. This looks to be a pretty generic lot with nothing that interesting.
Holy godthingas.
So yeah, I bought the Endo 1 lot, and finally the seller decided to pack the figures up in this little Funko Pop Demon Slayer figure packaging for whatever reason. So that's kinda funny. And ironic because this is also made by Funko, so it's kinda funny to me. Yeah, without further ado, let's just clean this up. So where is it gonna do it right there. Okay, so here's everything that was inside that box. Let's take a look at this stuff first. This looks like a bunch of miscellaneous stuff that I don't really care for. Take a quick look at this. Okay, so in this first little bag I got a bunch of random ass figures, which look like some junk taken out of a Kinder egg. But there's also this mini Funko Pop figure, which I know is also from the Kinder egg. Yeah, these are just thrown in as a bonus, and yeah, I frankly kinda don't care about these. So I'm just gonna throw these to the side, and then this should be the main attraction. Okay, so I got that junk out. We got a bunch of little stickers, a bunch of Lego stuff. Oh, that's wonderful. We got that, and we got a bunch of stolen fan art. Ooh, power left at 0. Stay golden. And this one really brings me back to like 2015, 2016 era. Hang on, I need to show this. It's genius, bro. We got some anime character, another one, Pokemon that's genius, another anime character, and we also got this little piece of fan art here. The Wizards. Are you ready for Freddy? Well, yeah, absolutely. Also got, oh look, I got a couple of little pins here, which is also stolen fan art most likely. Got some damaged versions of Bonnie here. There's a little mango drawing. I don't know, looks kind of like she's meant to be a plushie of some kind. I don't know, it looks kind of weird. There's a third one, and we got this little golden Freddy one. This really reminds me of like an animation from like 2014 or 15. I don't know, it really reminds me. I'm pretty sure this is ripped off a animation from that era. If I happen to find it, I will put an image of it up on the screen. But yeah. And also the other figures that we got were these little Funko Christmas themed little figures. We got Freddy here, who looks a bit like a gingerbread man, or has this little Christmassy color scheme. We got Foxy here with a little Santa hat holding a little present, which is the most normal looking one of these. And we also have Balloon Boy in this sort of Christmassy color scheme. I'm pretty sure that these came from like an advent calendar that Funko released. But yeah. I'm pretty sure Animatronics reviewed that recently, that's why I remember this. And yeah, of course, the most prized possession in this is of course Endo 01. So yeah, let's get back to the review and take a look at him. Okay, so the actual last mini that I have to show to you guys is Endo 01. And he is practically perfect. Every single wire, bolt and rivet is sculpted down to a T. They even made sure that the rivets on his head were different on both sides. And because he's an animatronic without a costume, Funko made sure to make his limbs far thinner compared to the others, which is a really nice detail. Also, my copy is pretty unique since Endo's hands are supposed to be symmetrical, but on my copy, his hands are in different positions. And also for some reason, on the topper of the case box that these guys are sent in, Endo's artwork is glowing, which is quite odd. And out of all of these updated minis, Endo has got to have the biggest glow up of all. Like, just take a look at this compared to the Endo mini from Series 1.
Who is that? What is that?
This figure is so bad that it hardly even resembles Endo 01 or Endo 02. And it even has a top hat and bow tie as if he's Freddy committing indecent exposure. Like, this thing looks more like the fucking bear from Case Animatronics than an actual Endo skeleton. But overall, this Endo is a fantastic little figure. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this review of mine, and I will make sure to see you all next time. Goodbye!